Welcome to Be Heard with YB. It's the world's greatest host, me of course, YB. I'm here with Elgen Mcferren. El is a brilliant mind. Overcame so many obstacles, made it to a level of success a lot of us dream of. Coming from his predicament, El is gonna tell us about his journey and how he made it to the level of success that he made it to, and the places that he is showing himself that he has to be. I think God put us all in places and areas of life that we are most needed. And I think El is very needed on this platform for you guys to get this information. So El, I want to thank you. I want to appreciate you. I'm just excited to have you on the show. Because I'm about to pick your brain. I want to draw out of you all of the information that you got to give to us as far as like the black community and how we need to do better as men, most of all, to take care of our responsibilities in life and how to progress through life. So, El, for those who don't know you and those who don't know who you are, just give them a brief overview of who you are and what you stand for.
Man, well, like you said, I'm Elgen. They call me Elgen Mac. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm everything that you are as well. I'm a man that overcome a lot of obstacles, and each stage and phase of life, we got to be able to overcome ourselves in order to put ourselves in different positions. Well, for lack of better words, man, I've been in and out of juvenile detention centers from 12 to age 18. Then from 19 to 24 in prison system, been shot others, received karma, got kicked out of every school you can possibly think of. But what's interesting about that fact, where I used to stutter real bad, and I had ADHD. Right. But in the midst of my stuttering inability or disability, I used to have visions of me speaking in front of large crowds, man. Right. So my mother used to go to church on Saturdays to prepare the church bulletin for Sunday. And while she was there, I'd be on stage, I'd be mimicking the pastor and stuttering and flipping and doing all types of stuff. But when I leave, my reality didn't match my vision. It was inconducive to my calling. However, God was positioning me and training me to prepare me to qualify for my target audience. So now I can raise up my shirt, I can show the bullet wounds, and I can communicate with the guys that drilling and sliding and spinning. Now I can be verified and validated through my prison record or my street creds. You know what I'm saying? Also from a professional perspective in business, because it's different stages of life. Right. So the thing we be running from, the thing that we praying for God to extricate us out of and to rescue us from, is actually the exact thing He's training us with. That's why we call them obstacles. Obstacles give you strength. It conditions you. It makes you better. It's the opposite from opposition, which is intended to defer or to destroy you, man. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's why obstacles are on an obstacle course. Right. So you see a plethora of different things. You kind of got to jump over hurdles. You got the baby mama issues. You got the police. You got the prison system. You got financial difficulties. But everything you see really come from you, because you can actually control it once you control your mind, man. It's nothing but an illusion. When I learned that, I was able to really elevate, bro, because it looked like a distraction. But it's really just an illusion, just like an optical illusion dealing with a magician. Right. You think he cut the woman in half, doggone well he just saw the young lady in two different pieces. Right. You know what I'm saying? However, we think I'm behind. We think I'm being held back. We think we're not good enough. But if you feed the illusion, it begins to grow, and then the distraction becomes crystallized, and now it can destroy your life. Because the devil can't stop your greatness. God said in the scripture, He said that He gives gifts without repentance. So He cannot take the gift back. He will not take the gift back, but the enemy will create a situation to make you forfeit your calling. And when you forfeit, that means you just don't play. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I'm on. So we did that. Also, when I came home from the institution, I ended up getting my dreads cut off, getting my gold taken out my mouth, right? And I went to my barbershop. He cut my hair off. And my barber communicated with me. He was like, "Hey, what you gonna do with yourself?" And I was using all them big words and stuff because I read the Bible and dictionaries and read over 120 books my last 3 years of my sentence. You know what I'm saying? And he said, "What you gonna do with yourself?" And I wanted to be an attorney. Because even though I was in and out of juvenile detention centers, did a lot of, malevolent things, for lack of better words, as an adult offense, I literally was innocent. It was self-defense, but I didn't understand the law. Like right now, if I get up and I slap you, I'm just joking, but if I slap you, the moment I turn my shoulder, the moment I walk away, if you pursue me to any degree and extent, you're the assailant and I'm the victim. But you know, that ain't life, man. You know how adrenaline pumping, you know what I'm saying, your reflexes, you know what I'm saying? So when I pursued the individual and did what I did, then now I was just sitting, I couldn't read, I didn't understand the law, they scared my mama, but he facing 25 to 40, so just go ahead and get no sign, it's 5, he can get probation. I'm shaking with the pen, let me go on sign probation, but it was a lie. Aggravated offenses they don't give probation. I got a probationary hearing and what they already knew they were gonna make bat me. You know what I'm saying? But that was the best thing that happened to me in my life, bro. You know what I'm saying?
You had to sit down and conjure up what you really wanted to do, huh? You had a lot of time to think.
I had a lot of time to think, but it didn't start that way because okay, so when that situation happened, I actually made bond on that something. You know what I'm saying? Made bond, I went on the run for a while, and then I made bond. Right. You know what I'm saying? While I was on bond, bro, I got into a lot of different situations. All praise be to God, and I'm glad that He forgive me for my situations. But December the 21st, I shot somebody in a situation I was just telling you about. Even though it was me standing my ground, bro, my mentality and my perspective of the situation was demonic. Like, yeah, man, nigga, you got one. Nigga was being vicious about the situation. You know what I'm saying? It was boosting up my cred. It was making me feel opposite of what I'm 43 now. I was 19 in. You know what I'm saying? So later, a year later, December the 21st, I get shot the same day, unrelated. Wow. Unrelated. Come on, man. The same exact date, bro. December the 21st, unrelated. Less than, I don't even think it was 10 days because I got shot Christmas Eve, then New Year's Eve. I get into 2 shootouts the same day while still stapled up. The next morning, police came and got me on an investigation of a robbery, and I was on bond for the attempted murder charge. Right. Criminal attempt first degree, they ended up getting mitigated. You know, so it was a few counts, but the situation transpired. Now I'm in that junk, I'm stapled up. You know what I'm saying? I'm still don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Because when you are accustomed to that particular situation, that becomes your norm. I've been in and out since 12, bro. And every situation, it makes you, whatever you practice, you perfect. If I'm coming to shooting jump shots, I'm getting colder. If I'm coming to rolling dice, I'm getting colder. Instead of dope, I'm getting colder. Robbing, I'm getting colder. So whatever you do, man, you become a master of. Right. Even if it's of your own mischief and misery. You know what I'm saying? So now, I'm walking to the phone, limping to that junk, got a few of the brothers securing me, doing what they do. I'm walking to the phone, and I call home, still being manipulative. Finna call mom, give me on 3-way, let me call the bra, let me get a bring it, do this, do this. You know what I'm saying? I call home, and I'm like, hello? The call got a sip. First time with a sip, I called, it was about home. Call back, answer the junk, it was just silent. I'm like, hello? Mom, hello? Hello? Moochie. Pop, call name, hello? Silent. And finally, she was like, son, when you gonna get yourself together, man? And she just was talking to me, and it was the piercing pain, but that pulverized my heart. You know what I'm saying? Because, bro, you talked to my dad yesterday, bro, but at 12, I got a situation from game, bro. My dad had to go spinning. You know what I'm saying? My mom had to carry a gun to church. It was at the youth 12. I look at my son, that Eli 12, I was like, man, what was I doing? Right. You know what I'm saying? At that age.
Could you imagine your sons doing that, participating in some of the acts that you participated in as a child? Because you see them doing that now? Or you feel like you are invested enough in your kid's life not to let them go down that road?
I can't see them doing that now because I am invested, but I can see them doing it. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that that's our world. You know what I'm saying? Because when we talk about our kids, but it's based on leadership is influence. Right. And what influence our kids, it come down in chronological order. You got the home, you got their peers, you got the school, and then you have like radio, television, and things of that nature, right? So the only thing that influence a young man should be a man. They got different experiences. But however, that's not the facts of our matter, bro. Because when you look at the home, 64% of the households in the United States of America are single-parent households. Right, no leadership. 80% of that is women. Right. So there ain't no leadership, no influence from the man. Then we talk about school, 89% of the teachers are women when it comes down to elementary. 77% when it comes down to middle school, and that's isolated in certain capacities of sports, a coach. Right. Most teachers male teachers be coaches that function in the teacher capacity, man. And they're still limited. If we talk about television, you show me one positive male influence on TV, bro. Even if it's like a television show with a man and a woman in a household with kids, they always find a way to put that man in a board position, man.
And I agree with that 100% because thing about it is, the show power, right? The dynamic of power. I'm not talking about the drug dealing part at all. The dynamic part of it was you had a man, a woman, and the kids in a household that was nurtured. You feel me? It was flourishing. And then you get down through the show, and then this man finds another woman of another race and indulges with her to break up the family structure of his household and battles the woman he had kids with. But that's the imagery that they show us. That's the imagery that they give us. So let me just ask you this: when we battle mainstream society and imagery in itself, how do we supposed to deflect from that when that's all that we see every day? This is what our kids see. Even if you're not monitoring them, if you don't have eyes on them, this is what they see. And there's no way you can stop that. How do we combat that?
Man, it's almost like being a farmer. You know what I'm saying? If you want apples, you got to plant apple seeds.
Right.
And then even when the tree begins to grow from their seeds, so as the twig is bent, the tree shall grow. So whatever direction is faced or placed, that's how it's going to evolve. You know what I'm saying? So it's about, you got to teach them their identity and help them develop their identity so nothing outside them can pour in. But when you think about a ship or boat, anything in the ocean, a boat, it can be a canoe. It's around tons of water and it still float.
Right.
So it's not the fact that it's in water, it's the fact when water get in it that it begins to sink.
Right.
So no matter what go on the outside of us, we just can't let it get in the inside of us. And I'm going to give you a biblical reference, right? When you look at the Bible, you know what I'm saying, when Jesus called Peter to come walk on water. Now let's break that down from a different parable perspective, right? Number one, to see an individual walk on water is something that's supposed to be quote unquote impossible, right? And that word impossible means impossible. But we're going to say impossible, right? So us coming from the hood.
Hold up. The word impossible, you say it's impossible.
It's impossible. When you spell it out, it's impossible.
That's a different perspective as far as like the word in itself.
Yeah.
But I ain't gonna stop you on that. I just
It's
had to catch that.
impossible. So
That's cold. That's cold right there.
yeah, because when you look at things as impossible, you got to say, well, that's impossible, but I'm possible, so I can make it a possibility through the probability of my power. So a possibility is something that may happen or may be the case. A probability is something that can for surely happen based on certain statistics, data, certain effort, energy, discipline, and the etc. Right? So something is impossible, then I'm possible. It's impossible that we can talk from this country to that country, but I'm possible, Steve Jobs, so I'm gonna make it happen. It's impossible I'm gonna make somebody use their own car and pay me, and then I charge them to run errands, and I'm manipulating things from an app. But I'm possible, so I created Uber. You see what I'm saying? So everything that we see came in somebody's mind that was once an impossibility, but they believed despite what everybody else saw. Back to the Jesus reference, right? He talk about come walk on water, right? That's impossible. You want me to walk on water? But I'm possible. So now he began to walk on water. Once he started to walk on water, man, the tree branches get to flying, power lines snapping, fishes jumping out of the water, things are going tumultuous and haywire, right? Because anytime you step on your calling, there's going to be things that try to oppose you or slow you down or test you so you can prove who you are, right? Well, what Peter had to remember is it wasn't things that were going on outside of him, bro. It was the things that were going on inside of him, and he had to remember who called him. God called me. God called you. So forget what he say what she say, or what I see, or what my God ain't concerned about the amount of money. He concerned about the amount of my faith, the amount of my discipline, the quality of my character. Because your character growth is going to always determine the height of your personal growth, bro. And once your personal growth, that's how you get the finances. That's how you get the business. That's how you get the woman that you want or that you're worth. You know what I'm saying? The thing about it, we want things that we are not and wonder why we don't have.
Exactly.
I'm making sense, man.
Make a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Because for one, if you lose a house, you can get it back. If you lose a car, you can get it back. If you lose money, you can get it back. But if you lose your character, it's a hard thing to get back. And you can sometimes never get it back. That's why they call it the assassination of the character. Because if the character's assassinated, then it's a hard thing to get back. Because once you are tarnished as a person, you are tarnished through life, because their reputation is the respect that other people give you. And if you can't gain respect from other people, then that's a problem for yourself, right? It's a problem on you. So you gotta that valuing their character, as you speak about, valuing their character and yourself, the person that's inside, the person you are inside, should always illuminate and speak volumes to the world. You know what I mean? So, and me sitting here just listening to you, you got that all the way out. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a gift that you definitely got to give to the world. And I know you're already doing that, but I feel like you got to amplify that to heights. But you can't even walk in the house without saying Elgen. You know what I mean? And I ain't talking about the rich parts. You know what I'm saying?
God,
you know what I mean?
God gonna do it when it's time, when they got to be, and part of my language for using the word nigga, I'm not saying from a derogatory perspective, but how Tupac used it, never ignorant can goes accomplished. And so we can't be ignorant, which means the lack of knowledge of ourselves, our situation. Like you just talk about character, right? But in some instances, we got to assassinate our own character if it's poor, almost similar to a video game or Fortnite, we got to develop a different scheme. Right. So just say when I was in the streets, okay, well, that was a poor character. Like Elgen gonna shake some, Elgen this, Elgen that. So I had to assassinate and kill that individual, and I had to resurrect a new one, and then that had the quality that can get me through doors that I couldn't get in my past state. Right. Because presently I bring presence and not mischief. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's about too, bro. We got to always be willing to evolve, because everything you want, you got to grow into something or you got to grow out of something. Right. The problem is we don't know how to properly grow because we getting distracted by the distractions. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like, they beautiful distractions too. I'm talking about beautiful distractions, look pleasing, it look tempting, but you'll end up dazing in amazement, staring at a distraction, and end up getting pickpocketed out of your purpose. You know what I'm saying? What's the beauty? Is it necessarily a woman? Not necessarily. You know what I'm saying? It can be a woman characteristic in yourself. You know what I'm saying? By the lack of a father present or the lack of adopting manly things, because to be a man, bro, it's hard. You know what I'm saying? Or is it? Or is it?
Or is it just the mentality that we hold?
I think it's a mentality we hold, because when you think about the Olympics, that training is hard, but look at the fruit of the reward when everything comes to fruition. You know what I'm saying? So if it's Les, I heard it from Les Brown, he said that if it's hard, then do it hard. He said, because if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. But if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. And when I think about it, bro, I remember having a cake and be broke. I go, man, go through the cow, get some change, run across some little dollar, man, get a little dollar, get a dice game, lick real quick, man, give me about $10, $20, man. Then I'm really from Riverside. And during that particular time frame, you know, Kingpin that was controlling the whole nation was just 2 streets over. My spot was on Kirk, bro, right down Dyson. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm saying? So you'll get a deal for the 20, man. You can get about $150 worth of rock. You gonna spend $150, man, end of the week, man. You got about 2, 3 down, man. You got a couple of juices, a bud, you got some salt, you got some, you know, you working, right? What I thought about is it's time where I had little money and I thought about work, crack, dope, right? But it's also times I had no money and I was able to get a business valuated over $106,000 through the quality of my character. I didn't even have no credit, bro, at that time. You know, I was fresh out. When I sat down and negotiated with a company called Bukowski, Ring and Greenberg here in the city of Memphis, bro, now since I said you can look around, you're going to see they own probably 80% of the city, from apartment complexes to commercial institutions. Right. And I sat down with Justin Lubin, never forget him. You know what I'm saying? I sat down and, bro, I was so concerned about my past, I used to dare in the overdress trying to be professional because I ain't know. I would then jump with an ascot on. It amazed me, man. Like, they going to a car or something? I just probably been jump with an ascot on, man, right. The cover in my damn little man. Right. Man, out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? But he was just like, man, it's they gave me the lease and I ain't have it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, it was going to be a lot. And I was like, man, I ain't got it. And I called her back. I tried to get an attorney at first. I never forget, I forgot his name. I gave the man $100. It was on Popular. And I told him my plan. He was like, man, it's not going to get all this over. I'm like, man, what else? So I go back.
Shooting down the dream.
Yeah, shooting down the dream. Right. So I go back to Justin Lubin and I talked to him and I was like, man, bro, I'm not going to play with your time. I appreciate, you know what I'm saying, the effort to sit down, these very different meetings and such. And I walked away from the situation. He called me the next morning and said, look, man, I don't know who you are or what you got going on, but something's on you and I'm just, man, entitled to assist. You know what I'm saying? He said, we ain't worried about their construction. That was $56,000. He said, we gonna talk the construction, we gonna charge you a 10-piece, And we're going to incorporate it into your lease. So versus the 3-year lease that you want, we're going to extend it to a 6-year lease so you won't feel the payment. It'll stay the same. We just need this amount of money for you to be able to get started, which was first and last month rent. I ain't had it. The moment I left, bro, I ended up getting it from somebody who I at least expected. I didn't even tell them, but I assisted them with something they asked me to do. And when I got complete with the task, they hit me with a check, man. I'm like, man, it was the exact amount. I'm talking about, man, a miracle, bro, the exact amount. I go back get the bill, I get the bill, bro. I ain't had no equipment. Right. It just kept going and kept going. Then I ain't know how I'm gonna fill the shop up, bro. I had a cousin when I came home. He had been cutting up for 7 years. I love it with all my heart. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes proximity pollutes your power and make people dismiss your authenticity. So what I mean by that, bro, people who are closer to the light are usually blinded by it. So he was my cook. Again, people who are closer to the light are usually blinded by it. Proximity. Man, that's L, man. Nigga. You know what I'm saying? But outside, oh my God, this dude. You know what I'm saying? Or that's L. Because people see who you are. Right. Well, the other people see what you was and see where you're trying to go. That's why, honestly, man, when you're trying to come up, it's almost hard to get somebody to do it with you because every level you hit, it start creating success breeds envy. That's the penalty of leadership. You have to do it by yourself, and then once you shake something, then people start to do it. But you got to have your head on the swivel, man, because it's just the game is the game.
I look at author, speaker, teacher. That's a lot as far as coming from where we come from to the regular individual or somebody who's trying to get to your level. That's a lot. It's hard to do. It's impossible. I can't get there. It takes too much time. They don't know how much time you put in, but to them it's too much time. It probably take 10 years. 5 years is a long time. What was the route, and how many obstacles did you have to overcome, and hurdles did you have to jump through to get to the position you're in right now to be solidified as a speaker, a teacher, an author? How did you get to that level?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of difficult for me to quantify the obstacles and to be something. Man, you have to be it before it becomes to be, man. You know, so you have to be it before you become it. You know what I'm saying? So when it talks about an educator or a speaker, I was always that. You remember I talked about the onset, how as a child with ADHD and a stuttering disability that I saw visions of me speaking. Right. See, God put things inside of you as a youth. It's our job to be able to nurture the gift that we see inside our kids or the gift our parents see inside of us. Or if no one see it, you got to believe it before you achieve it. Right. That's why the poet here, he said that anything the mind conceives, it can achieve if it believes. But the word achieve comes from the word attain, which means to grasp with great effort, to accomplish with great effort, despite difficulty. Right. But there's a difficulty factor attached to everything of value, man. So it's like, when we talk about the author, okay, author comes from the word authority. So if you went through a certain situation, you became authentic to this situation, what gave you authority of this situation so you can be able to author a book. We author life and chapters of our whole existence every day. That's why they say when a wise man died, a library burned to the ground. You got a book now. Situation with your father, you know what I'm saying, what you learned, what you went through, you being a father, situation going from a whole other city. You know what I'm saying? No matter what you do, no matter what you experience. And when it come down from a speaker perspective, that was something I had to fight my peers because I came through it as a barber. And everyone tried to isolate me to being a barber as who I was versus something that I did. When I saw barbering as a gift from God. Because when my barber took me down to the barber school, when I told you about that, get my haircut one night, he took me down to the barber school, he said, look, I told him I want to be an attorney. He was like, man, why? Because I didn't understand the law, I signed something that was really an act of injustice. But when I learned how to read, I started to work on my case, the cases of other individuals. So I said I want to be a community activist, which I always had that revolutionary type of spirit. The problem is that he said, you need you some money, bro. You want to go to the University of Memphis, man? He said, you're going to end up doing the same thing, just in a different environment. You know, so you end up, man, selling dope to the college kids and doing certain things to hustle and survive. The only difference ain't the street, it's the dorm room. Right, he said, man, why don't you get a trade up under your belt? I'm like, man, what the hell is a trade? He said, hey, you know all the big words, you know what a trade is? I said, what's a trade? He said, HVAC mechanic, truck driving, barbering. He said, matter of fact, I got a partner named Hunter Lane Harry, got a barber school on 3rd Matter called Last Minute Cut. I'm taking you to that joint and we gonna let's see what's going on. I went in there, man, like the moment I stepped in, it was like I heard angels. Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I go and I'm like, man, it's something different. But I also used to have, when I used to be in barbershops, I used to be enthused and mesmerized by the barber's ability not to transform individuals, but how they held the stage, help people communicate it, and just with their figure, not knowing I was looking at my future.
Right.
So when I grabbed the clippers, I didn't understand that God was giving me a skill to transition from the street so I wouldn't have to resort to negativity, violence, or crime, to attach to my gift, my ability to speak, empathize, and connect with people so that I can fulfill my purpose, because I was extremely institutionalized, bro. I was speak, I was quiet, I didn't even hardly smile. It took me a couple of years to start developing a sense of humor. And anybody that know me or until they would say, man, they thought I was crazy. You know what I'm saying? They talked about me. You know what I'm saying? But God don't make you a barber. You wanna know why? I got plans for you. And I need to know how to deal with the straight man, the gay man, the doctor, the attorney, the pimp, the pastor. People from all walks of life come to the barbershop. Exactly. So it got me out of my mode of being stiff, and I had to be agile. Because the less agile you are, the less fragile you'll be. You know what I'm saying? Because agility makes you flexible. Right. Well, fragile means you can break. Right. And what don't be is break. Right. You know what I'm saying? So now it put me in a position where I'm able to deal with people and talk to people. I remember one day in the shop, we sitting talking about, I used to cut her, and when I cut her, man, people cut the TV out, stop with their clippers, and just be like this here. I'm not knowing, because when you the one that's gifted, you can't see it. I'm just being myself. I'm like, man, why dude man finding me hating me because he see it? Why she looking at me this way? I'm looking down thinking that I ain't got it because I ain't got the money, but she see a king and she choosing. You know what I'm saying? Because she see the gift, but I did. But I'm sitting in the chair, man. Older guy came in, walked in the chair. He was waiting to get served, and he saw me. I cut him. He like 70-some years old pastor. Right. He said, young man, he said, man, God got a calling on your life. He said, you gonna change the world. He just started talking to me. He said, you ever thought about speaking, doing seminars? What's that? I had, even though I had got to a high level barber, I had never even went to a barber seminar. I never did no class. It just didn't appeal to me, bro. But I ended up teaching them one before I even went to one myself. Right. And so he told me that, and Silent was in the room at the time. The guy who he made, individual stuff right. Proper. So he was like, man, we're gonna put this together, right? So he put the flyer together the same day. Maybe lean on to the more. He used to be the spot on 63rd night, going up all night and just sipping Corbell and exactly. Doing our thing and whatnot, man, exchanging intellectual property. And so he said, man, put this junk together, and we did it. I'm thinking negatively. I'm like, man, folks ain't gonna support, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I was having a lot of issues, bro. I got fresh out of prison, went to barber school. That school I went to got caught up on fraudulent charges, did a lot of misappropriation of financial funds. So right when I got 487 hours, which the requirement is 1,500 hours. I'm almost there, man. 13. I got some change, right? I had to start all back over, bro. I had to do it 2 years. It would have took me, man, 9-month program, bro. But that was a test of my consistency because I'm originally from Riverside, 3rd and Battery, right there, man. So everybody, I didn't have no car, catching the bus. He riding by, man, flicking on 20s on that. The hell, what's up with you, man, bro? Trying to bait me back in. No, bro, I'm good, brother. I'm talking, man, like a buck. I'm trying to run you off. You know what I'm saying? Man, bro, I'm doing prodigious. You know what I'm saying? And so, but it was difficult because I did have thoughts. Right. Of picking up a sack. I did have thoughts of doing some of the things that was on my path because that's what the devil do. Like, when you look in the Bible, bro, with Jesus fasting those 40 days and 40 nights, the devil outweighed him. You can't out-strengthen the demonic spirit. Right. You got to be you have a spiritual strategy for the demonic energy and not think you're just going to be strong and Debo. Yeah, he ain't going. He know all, he ain't going. So from that perspective, bro, man, I had to have a spirit. I speak like my train of thought, dealing with. Yeah, you good. I love my train of The school, man. So, long story short, I had to have a spiritual strategy. I had to be consistent, man. So I thought about doing those things, but I didn't. And so I ended up having to start back over. One of the best things happened to me. I went to Tennessee Tech, you know what I'm saying? And while I was in barber school, bro, the teacher paid attention to my gift. I had people just surrounding me in class and stuff. And she said, so we was reading a book one day, and I saw that you had to have an active fumigant inside of your drawer to sanitize your combs and your razors and stuff like that.
Right.
But I saw the active fumarate contained formaldehyde, which was carcinogenous. It caused cancer,
Right.
and it produced DNA damage. And I said, man, this ain't cool because such and such and such and such. And why we got to contain it, because I was looking at it from a different level. I saw that most blacks and Hispanics had to get a barber license.
Right.
But if you was on the other side of another ethnicity, you had a cosmetology license.
Right.
But it was a strict way or a slick way to be able to still do black and white situations.
Right.
So like now, they can't be discriminatory and say, you can't get a house or a car or a job because you black. They can't say that right now. They can say, because you're a felon. Who the hell you put felons on? You see what I'm saying? So it was one of them situations. I was like, okay, well, Supercuts is a cosmetology shop, primarily white, fantastic sales, all these particular spots, but they got things that say cut and barber poles to reflect barbering to promote, you know what I'm saying, covertly, but a cosmetology license, they had to go over the same regulations and rules.
Right.
So I said, man, I was talking to this piece, she said, what you gonna do about it then? I said, man, what's up? So she took me, we drove to Nashville as a barber student. I got 2 barber laws changed. I should have known then I had the ability to speak, but I still was blind to it. But back to the story with, we were talking about the speaking situation, the gift, right? So with that, man, Silent ended up, we printing the flyers. I think people gonna hate on me because when I got out of school, I got my shop so fast in less than 6 months, I got my shop. And before you know it, I was all on the news. I'm getting an award from Memphis Grizzlies. I got murals on the wall right beside Dr. Kingdom downtown on 3rd and Madison. And but I'm not seeing who I was, man. They were condescending state board here. They was hating on me. Like, who is this dude came in the barber game this fast? And then I was having difficulties because everybody had to get to work for me, had been in the game 5, 10 years.
Let me bring something back on you right quick. You remember we had a video shoot just back when I was doing music. We had a video shoot in Atlanta with Rocco. You remember that?
Yeah.
And you came out and you cut all our hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your level of integrity that you had with barbering, you came in with a bow tie.
Mm-hmm.
You had the whole, you had a proper fit.
3-piece suit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? This wasn't no, you know what I'm saying, your hood barber pull up, you know what I'm saying? Nah, you came elegantly. It was like, man, we looked at him, girl, we said, man, he charged about $150. I know he charged about $100. You know what I'm saying? But the level that you carried yourself in, when we met you, doing barbering, I would see for myself. I see why they questioning, like, who is this dude that came up in the barbering game?
And this the actual shop.
Like,
this the shop,
like,
right?
You was on a whole nother level then. So I know you was ruffling some feathers, as we should say.
And I mean, it's crazy everything, because where we sitting there now, this actually the shop that I started in, but this isn't my shop at this particular moment.
Right.
I don't want to say student, because to me, when people say stuff like that, sometimes like an ego trying to little boy situation, because it wasn't a student, it was a gentleman who was attending my seminars, who was a boss himself, and we developed a relationship over the years. Mm-hmm. And he ended up coming into it after the fact, years later, and created a barber school and gave us the opportunity to actually film here. And he got my financial literacy curriculum that's changing the whole nation right now, the dynamic of the barber industry right now. And it started from this same situation that started me. But that's what I was saying, but I was all over the news, not because of my ability to cut hair, because I use this space, this holy lane. I use this space to do GED classes, gang intervention. We created a program called Cut for Canned Goods, where I allow people to come in and get their hair cut for canned goods, and we redistribute them canned goods right back into the community. You know what I'm saying? So I was having a lot of heat on me, man, from the quote unquote, I don't want to say haters, because hate does more to the projector of hate than the recipient. So they really was killing themselves, but they didn't understand the capacity. But the scriptures say that you are never without honor except in your hometown amongst your own friends and family. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people don't understand, because they go back to the reference, those who are close to the light are blinded by it. So Silent put the flyer together. We walk around, about 14 or 15 people gonna be there. You know, a few friends, a few family members. I know a few women gonna be there, but they were trying to get up on it, you know what I'm saying? And I was, using it to my advantage to be real, you know. Right. And I knew they were gonna be there. Man, look, bro, we got the space, big and small, about 40 people. Man, that jump was over 100 some people, man, stand-up room only. I'm gonna give you a picture so you can insert it. Mm-hmm. About 100, man, it's stand-up room only, man. I had never spoke a day in my life. And I was like, man, a couple weeks later, man, I jumped and moved to Houston, you know what I'm saying? It became kind of awkward, man. People were trailing me home from my shop, and it got weird. I'm like, I'm cutting hair. You know what I'm saying? I'm cutting hair. But I didn't understand, you know what I'm saying, what God positioned me to be in.
A lot of people feed for information and knowledge. You know that, right? A lot of people be hungry for it. I think it's so much pollution as far as like inside of mainstream media or media in general, social media, whatever. It's a lot of pollution. It's a lot of, you know, TikTok videos and Instagram videos going around with nonsense. It's not teaching you nothing. So when people come across information and knowledge, they be really jumping on it because they want a piece of it, they want a part of it. But they 9 times out of 10, most of them do it in silence. You know what I mean? You catch most of your viewers and most of your people, they sit there and watch it on the low. Because I don't know why with our community it's like being smart or being intellectual is lame. It's squirrely.
I think they're changing.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I feel that kind of, but you got to think about the younger generation. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I had to go through a level of growth to get to the point where I'm like, man, I only want to surround myself around somebody I can learn from or get something from. You feel me? If we can't exchange Jews, then what we doing? If I can't sit here and learn them from you, then why am I talking to you?
If you ain't evolving, you're dissolving.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like you just, man, straying away, like you pixelate, man. You think you whole, but you're not. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why it's important, bro. You got to keep, like me, I live my life like the jump man, man. Like I'm like this here. That's how I live my life. I got one hand up reaching towards people that's ahead of me that can make me uncomfortable. That I just say, bro, what's that word, bro? What's that mean? You know what I'm saying? That makes me stressed. That help me expand my capacity. I got one hand reaching down to help the people that trying to get to the stage that I once was in, so I can place them in a position so they have the opportunity to grow, man. That's what it's about, because the reverse of that is holding the individual down. Right. And if I try to hold something down, just think about that psychology, bro. If I got to hold you down, I got to stay down with you. Right. But if I lift you up, we both simultaneously rise together. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people can't do that because they see the person that they could be learning from as competition. They see the person they could be collaborating with as an adversary. You know what I'm saying? And wonder why they come, they might hit adversity. You know what I'm saying? Which is an adverse or unfavorable condition, because that's how they see themselves. What you think about, you bring about. Right. If you can't see it in your mind, you will never see it in your life. Right. You can't see it in your bank account. In your mind, you can't see it in your bank account, in your hand. And we got to start making more deposits than withdrawals, man. We always want to take something. Like people say, can you mentor me? Yeah, I do whatever I can to help, but a lot of times I get drained because what do you have to offer in the process? If I give you game, man, you got a camera on? Can you film this for me? Can you do this for me? Can you do that? It just be difficult, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because let's say I may have somebody I'm trying to work with that may be a professional. I see the ability to be an executive. You trying to work with an executive, but shit, he's trying to be the artist. So he can't help you because he competing with you as an artist, man, bro. You know what you got. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we got the exposure creates expansion. The more you expose to, the more you can expand. The opposite of it is you begin to shrink. You get atrophy of your mind. It's just like, man, if I tie my arm up right now, bro, and I don't use it, in a minute it's gonna start getting withdrawn. It's gonna get small. I'm gonna have DJ powers. I ain't gonna be able to move in a minute. You know what I'm saying? At all, because I'm not using it. They say you use it, you'll lose it. But again, man, God don't give you gifts without repentance. So you don't lose it, you just forfeit it. You got a whole winning hand, but you forfeited, man. You lost the game. You got the winning hand. Right. You got the character, you got the power, you got the discipline, you got the fortitude, you got the intestinal fortitude. You can withstand certain situations. You know what I'm saying? But you talking about, man, I ain't got what I need. You got everything you need. Exactly. You got to start moving, brother, start improving. You know what I'm saying? So we got to make sure that all our activities are in alignment with our purpose and in alignment with our priorities, number one. Number three, we got to make sure that we got to stop spending major time on minor things. And number three, man, stop trying to do big things with small-minded people. You know what I'm saying? If we just change those 3 points within the equation, we can literally, man, have a different mathematical situation. And I say mathematical because everything is based on math. It's something you got to add, you got to subtract, you got to divide, or you got to multiply. You have to add a little discipline, add a little focus, add a mentor. You may have to subtract certain people in your life, certain type of habits, certain type of behavior of yourself. You have to multiply your effort. You have to stop being divided. You know what I'm saying? And make yourself whole.
I got you. 100%.
I'm making sense, bro?
Making a lot of sense. We're going to jump over, because we're approaching the end of the show and we got like 15 minutes left in the segment. You got this book called Letter to My Son.
Correct.
I did a show a couple months back called Breaking the Cycle, and I did it with my dad. I talked to your dad yesterday. I met your dad. Very stern man, very stern. And I asked him. I said, I pulled him to the side. I said, look, girl, this between me and you. I said, what you want me to ask you something? You want me to get something out of him? I got it right there on the camera. I'm gonna be able to ask him whatever. He said, well, I ain't got nothing to ask him. He said, cause you know, we done developed this relationship. Now we talk as men. You know what I mean? And then I thought to myself, once I left, my daddy did 12 years in the federal penitentiary. I was on the streets. I could have been doing everything under the sun, but I limited myself from not doing so much mischief or bull crap, you hear me, to actually trying to do something positive. But at the same time, I still had to eat. I still needed my cash. I still needed to do certain things. But I had his voice. We talk every day. I'm talking about if it wasn't every day, if we didn't talk, it was because something happened in there. They was on lockdown, you know, something happened, some shit. But I had his voice. And then when I met your dad and your dad said what he said, man, we grew to a point where I don't have a question I want to ask him because we sit down as men and talk. The relationship that you got with your father, how did you formulate that from being somebody who was, I say, hard-headed, as we should say, not listening, and overcoming that adversity to growing to where he co-authored the book with you?
To be honest with you, man, I had to heal. I had to take accountability. I had to remove the grudges, and I had to see things for what they are and understand who he was, because it wasn't like that, man. I was super wild, man. I got to sit. My own daddy shot at me at one time. Man. I was that disrespectful and that wild. He had to be like, man, you got me. You know what I'm saying? He had to prove a point. You know what I'm saying? And also, I didn't talk to him for about 10 years once I came home. He was constantly trying. He was doing the positive things. He was being effective, but I had an illusion and I had a victim mentality when in actuality that wasn't the case. You know what I'm saying? The devil wanted to rob me of my power, making me think that I wasn't loved or things was mishandled. When in actuality, it wasn't that. It was all training for the call. Right. You know what I'm saying? And once I became a father. See, a lot of time, bro, as men, we don't never hear our father's side of the situation. Number one. And number two is, and no disrespect to no women at all. No women. I'm not suggesting or implicating anything about my mother. She's a great woman. I'm talking outside to other people's situation. When you think about a woman that's immoral, that may be loose or do certain foul things, she's somebody's mama, man. So the child is never going to see it that way. They just see mom. You know what I'm saying? But when you come a man, you start dealing with women yourself, and when you start saying, like my son, I had to deal with things, I had to say, my damn son, I apologize. I was wrong, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I didn't mean to come at you like that. You know what I'm saying? I try to make my sons have dialogue with me. Most parents are bullies. They're just bullies, man. Don't do this, don't do that. Well, how are you going to put a child in an adult position and expect for them to be a child? You want him to cook, clean, help you with your kid that you had, his sibling, but then you want him to stay in his place. You blowing blood, rolling up dope in front of him, now he can't smoke. So you got to mind lead by example, number one. You know what I'm saying? But to get right to the point about this situation with the father, bro, once I became a father myself, I understood him. And then he had a father. Well, he had a father, which crazy. Everybody was speakers and militants and stuff, so it was in my blood. I could help it if I tried. You know what I'm saying? But his father died at the age of 12. He was 12. You know what I'm saying? So he grew up in South Memphis, South Park, went out there by himself with 5 siblings. You know what I'm saying? And he had to do what he had to do. So he was like very stern and very disciplinary. And men of that particular era, they didn't show no emotions. So it wasn't no, hey son, let me talk to you. He's like, man, you really didn't hear from me unless you did something wrong. So it made you like, hey, every time I do something, as you become a man, you begin to challenge other men. You know what I'm saying? So it make an adversary, you know what I'm saying, a belligerent type of relationship. When it come down to my son, I learned from that. I'd be like, son, I'm not your bully, I'm your father. I say, I want you to defend yourself, and I want you to have a dialogue and conversation with me. However, don't be disrespectful. If you say, Pop, I don't understand this, or you said this, you said that, I want you to be a man, because if I silence you, you don't feel like the word can silence you. You know what I'm saying? But it's different between instructions and directions. Sometimes I'm giving you instructions. Sometimes it's straight direction. You know what I'm saying? If I give you direction, I can just smash and handle it because it's something I see that you haven't experienced. Other times, man, let's have a conversation. We have a conversation, or we can have instruction. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to heal, bro, to be honest with you. I just had to heal. You know what I'm saying? He had to heal, and we had to grow. time cure all things, but all things work for the good for those who believe and call for a purpose.
Right. And let me just say this too, when it comes to strength, right? A lot of men, right, can't display their strength in the world. Especially, okay, let me just put it like this. We have a world. We have this world, right? As black men in this world, we deal with a lot of injustice. We deal with a lot of systematic problems as far as like how the system is set up to go against us. When we don't feel protected by our parents or our fathers in general, we don't have that backing. You know what I mean? Like little Timmy can go to jail today, and if his daddy got enough rank, he can make a phone call, and little Timmy will be out of jail with no problem. But ask my black father, can he make a phone call to get me out of out of a state prison or a federal penitentiary? You feel what I'm saying? No, that can't happen. You know what I mean? So it's a level of imbalance when we talk about the power structure when it comes to men. Like in today's world, how do you prepare them for what they might face on the outside?
Man, you gotta be honest with them and communicate. Because like I said, we were talking the other day, bro. Our issue with our youth, bro, it isn't necessarily the systemic or societal, bro. It's spiritual.
Right.
And it's biblical references to be able to prove it. You know what I'm saying? A prophet will always rise among the oppressed people. That's why when Martin Luther King and Malcolm, they was rising from the oppressed people, Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Harvey, or Huey P. Newton, they thought that there was the return of the Messiah from a spiritual perspective. Because Pharaoh just represented a governmental structure of an oppressive system. Right. That's why in the Bible, Pharaoh said, kill all the male boys. All the boys, the Hebrew boys, he don't care if they was 2 months old or 17-year-old, kill all of them. Because the only way to kill the man that will become a prophet, let me stop him as a boy. This is what's happening now. Kill all the boys. Kill all the men. Through mass incarceration, through HIV, crack cocaine, through the lower tab, through the pills, through the roxy, through the homosexual agenda. That is biological, chemical warfare. We are continuously under attack because we are the chosen people. Don't take my word for it. It's in the beginning of Genesis. It saying that Abraham know for surety that your seed will be in bondage and will be taken to a strange land, will be in bondage for over 400 years. And we took it to a strange land ruled by a strange people, where the end thereof they will come out with great substance. And you look at it from a theological sense, or even historical sense, that time actually expired around 2020, around COVID-19, when all this stuff started happening. When you start seeing also a plethora of things begin to grow, like you seeing financial literacy starting to take place. You seeing people starting to become more entrepreneurial. You see black women, the top business owners in the world right now. Like everything began to grow because we coming up out of their rule. And also, bro, I just gotta be real. I saw something in the Washington Post back in, I think, 2019. And you can put it up. Y'all can put it up. It said that this Washington Post now, not no final call. Right. It said by year 2040 that the Caucasian race will be extinct. And they said the next race was the Hispanics, and then second was us, the African Americans. That's why they're trying to send them folk back. That's why they're trying to stop us, because the world is changing, and the system genetically, the way they built, it's just the truth. It's all facts. It's not no racist statement. It's not no. I'm not even on that type of time. I'm just telling you what they said about themselves with the Washington Post. Right. You know what I'm saying? So we are the God's chosen people. Right. So when you look at the Temple of Babel, when they built their Temple of Babel to try to get up to God, you know what I'm saying? They tried to beat up God, right? They built their Temple of Babel in the Bible, and they went so high, God struggled with lightning because they were opposing, trying to beat him. Now they're doing that with all the technology, right? He struggled with lightning, and it said they failed, and then it confused the language amongst the people. The operative word is amongst. So if amongst is within the same structure, right. They teach us that that's how we get Chinese, that's how we get Mexicans. No, it said amongst the people. Well, in African, they speak over 22,000 different languages. Chinese speak Chinese, Spanish speak Spanish, French speak French. But Africans and African Americans, you see what I'm saying? It was us, bro. So we have to understand that we are definitely under attack. But also we have a coach, we have a team owner, which is God, that's going to make sure we win. The things we're going through is actually growing us. It's to strengthen us. We got to start looking at them as obstacles, bro. We have to be able to receive these things and really learn. You're in a financial situation, it's because God wants you to learn how to manage your finances. He wants you to learn about credit.
What can they find? Letter to My Son.
Man, they go to Letter to My Son, not letters. that wasn't available, but letter to my son's book.com and get everything you need from coaching to speaking engagements and then all that. And, you know, we got a lot, we may have to do a part two. We got a lot of things that we do I want to be able to offer, but definitely from this perspective, you can go get that book, and I got a few others that you can have access to.
Man, y'all heard it here first. I'll be here with YB, man. Elgen Mcferren. I'm talking about pleasure, my brother. I'm speechless right now. You know, yeah. I'm speechless because it's so much to learn, it's so much to gain from this episode, it's so much to get. I just hope y'all take it and run with it and use it for your valuable, use it for value in your life and, you know, move forward, you know, because all information is tangible if it's the right information for you. So, once again, thank you, Ed.
Man, appreciate you, bro.
Show.
All right.
Thank the audience, everybody for being here. Shout out to y'all, you know what I mean? And we here, baby. We gonna see y'all later. Be here with YB. You did. Peace.